In a world dominated by people exerting the wrong effort, here are three middle-aged, possibly overweight guys to the rescue. It's time for us to get the ball rolling on any and every discussion that we can possibly think of. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to episode 3 of The Burp, presented to you by the Balls Rolling Productions. Welcome back, everyone. Again, this is episode 3. We have a really good episode on tap here for you. Some of the things that we're going to be talking to you about today are going to be the week in review in football, number 1. And we're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk a little bit of fantasy football. We're also going to talk about the NCAA. And one of the big things that happened over there in this weekend was the Heisman. We are going to then talk about the NBA. Big happening tonight. So we have the Bucks going against the Thunder for the NBA Cup Tournament Championship. That is being held in Las Vegas. So we're going to break in a little bit of that with some live updates, talk a little bit about that and what's going on there. Next up, we're going to talk about the MLB, Major League Baseball. Having some big things happen this last week, including today. We're going to talk about 2 big signings, and we're going to talk about 2 big trades, including one big trade today involving a former MVP. Finally, we're going to reach into Conspiracy Corner one more time here. We're going to do a little bit about Michael Jordan. So I'm going to change up the pace. We're going to step away from NFL script writing. We're going to go over to the NBA and Michael Jordan and what he was busy doing during that 2000-2001 NBA season. And then finally, we are going to talk about what you guys need to know. What's on our minds? What's in the mind of Bildo? What's in the mind of Luca? And what does T West have for you today? And then finally, even though I've said finally the last 3 times in a row, this is the real finally. We are going to jump back into trivia. Right now, I am beating Luca 4-3. And Billy has a fresh set of questions for us to get going on. So, busy day planned. Really looking forward to this episode 3. Starting us off, we always got to ask, boys, what are we drinking? Billy, what you got?
I got Coors Light still, this time in a bottle.
Coors Latte in a bottle. Luca, what about you? What do you got?
Throat. I'm mixing up Tecate Light, I was drinking a little bit over the weekend, needed to go refill, and this is what was at the gas station on the corner, so that's what we're drinking.
Tecate Light, got it. And again, the Corona, because I am waiting for, I'm going to call him Vincent Diesel now. So if Vincent Diesel could please reach out, have a Corona with me, that'd be great. Cheers, fellas. Let's dive right into it. Let's start off with what's going on in the NBA, or I'm sorry, in the NFL. So, topic 1, let's talk about OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. parting ways with the Dolphins. What are you guys thinking, Luca? What do you got for us?
I think it's bad timing. I mean, granted, it happened before we had Waddle go down. I don't know the extent of his injury, but I mean, I didn't see him come back. So, bad timing. Who do they got to help out if they're really trying to make this playoff push? I get it. He's a little bit older. I think he's a little bit not even trying. He's got, like that one commercial, he's got better stuff to do. So, okay. Sounds like he's got better stuff to do. Do they miss him? No. Do they need him now that Waddle's out? Yeah, maybe.
Okay, possible reunion there. Billy, what do you think?
Well, at this point, OBJ, he's a journeyman, and I feel like he's just out there collecting jerseys at this point. I know he took some of his salary in Bitcoin, and I know that's paying its dividends for him, so he's pretty much set. But he's a talented athlete. Unfortunately, I feel like Father Time's catching up to him. He's had some flashes of his old self, but I just don't think there's been much relevance to him in several seasons. So not surprised that he's off another team.
Makes a lot of sense. And my thoughts on that were kind of revolved around Father Time. It's taking a step back. Why can't he move into the slot? I feel like he could be a good slot receiver for a team. Whether it's obviously it's not Wes Welker or Julian Edelman, something like that, but Cooper Kupp, but still be a good slot receiver. Don't know. We'll see. I want to ask you guys this question. What's his best landing spot?
Ooh. Way to put us on the spot.
Man.
Right. Is it a reunion with the Rams? I don't know, with the vulnerability of Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup. Is it the Rams? Is it somebody else that's looking? Because I think he's going to want to go to a contender.
I think you put him with Philly. Just put him in that toxic locker room with AJ Brown. Maybe those two can go at it rather than at the quarterback, and then the quarterback can just throw the ball up, and one of them can catch it, and they can go back and forth. Who knows?
All right. Okay.
What about the Steelers?
Ooh, there you go. That's a good landing spot.
I mean, isn't Pickens injured?
That's a good cut. I don't know. He might be. I haven't done my research on Pickens, so. But that is a good landing spot because you got Russ throwing him the ball, so he's going to get the passes.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of veteran leadership in the locker room with
Mhm.
some of those younger receivers, and who knows?
Yeah, no, it would be a good opportunity. What about, and let me throw this, going back to Los Angeles, but not the Rams. What if he goes to the Chargers?
Ooh.
You got, was it Justin Herbert throwing him the ball? Yeah. They traded away Keenan Allen. They still could use some help, some depth as the Chargers. So
Yeah, that's another great landing spot. They're trying to make the playoffs. Could be a really good place for him. You got somebody who's going to keep them in check, like Harbaugh.
Yep.
Why not?
Yeah, good point.
All right. Agreed. Oh, all right.
Oh, dang.
Hey, that's a great topic there. Let's move on to the next thing that we have on our list. We actually want to dive a little bit into this whole controversy with Mark Gastineau from the early 90s, late 80s Jets and his 22 and a half sacks versus Brett Favre and what he allowed Michael Strahan to do. So let's talk a little bit about that. This time, last time I think I started with you, Billy. This time, let's start with you, Luca. What are your thoughts on the Mark Gastineau, Brett Favre rivalry going on right now?
So I was told from a not so proven source that he has dementia. Haven't been able to follow up to whether he's had dementia. And when we saw the video, it makes me wonder, like, was Favre sitting there like, all right, man, we've had this conversation like 5-6 times. Do you remember the last 4? Or was it like, oh, shoot, like, I didn't realize that really hurt you, and maybe the feelings really came on out? Either way, we all know that Favre took the dive. We all watched it.
We did. Yep.
None of us liked it, but to see how it actually affected the other person, and that was his record, and you just like gave it up like that. Yeah, I think Favre now understands what he did. But it's 20 years later, so what's it really matter?
Great
But
point.
you gotta feel for Mark. It sucks.
Okay. Nope, that's fair. Billy, what you got?
Honestly, I feel a little different. I think, I remember watching that play live. It looked very, very planned. They were talking before the next play. Favre rolled to his right. Strahan was there. Did the lineman let him through too? Was it all planned?
Yep.
Or was Strahan going to level him? Obviously, Favre was a gimme, but records are made to be broken. So I think Gastineau needs to let it go. And regardless if Strahan got the record or not, I feel like he would have gotten the record anyway. And didn't TJ Watt break it since? Did he break Strahan's record? So it's like, I don't think Gastineau's going to hold on to that record forever. So I don't know. I think he's a kind of a crybaby, honestly.
You made a good point there. I'll give you that one. So TJ Watt did actually tie Michael Strahan's record at 22 and a half. So that Gastineau's record would have been broken by TJ Watt now at this point. So you can tell there's a little bit of hard feelings there yet, though, from Gastineau to Favre for Favre taking the dive like he did. I get it. The part that goes back to me is when the record was broken, Mark Gastineau was there to congratulate him, and he was all happy about it. And you had 20 years to stew on it. I guess that gets you upset. Maybe that's his first interactions with Brett since, but is that really how you want to get yourself back in the news?
Yeah,
right.
So I don't know. Not all about it. There are some shady things that Brett Favre did do. That was one of them, but I don't think it's worth what's happening right now.
Sure. And I will say I watched that 30 for 30. Oh.
No, go ahead, Phil. I'll let you finish up your discussion here.
Just short and sweet. I did watch that 30 for 30 over the weekend, and I think just seeing what that team dynamic was like, the Jets and how they interacted and how he was kind of an outcast and he was very self-absorbed and he liked that spotlight, whereas the other guys seemed a little bit more blue collar. Not really surprised that he's bent out of shape over it, and just seems like he's a very me first kind of guy. So I don't really have much sympathy.
Okay, that's fair. Well, let's move on to the a little bit more of the NFL yet. I just want to get one takeaway from each of you from what happened over the weekend in the NFL. Whether it was a game, something that happened. What do you guys got for us? One thing that happened in the NFL over the weekend. Let's start with Billy because we had Luca. What did you last time?
Okay. I will say the one thing that stood out is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came to play this weekend and they had a good game, and I thought they were going to lose. So was happy to see that. And I'm rooting for Baker because I feel like he's a very underappreciated quarterback. So it's nice to see that he found a good spot for him in Tampa Bay. So that stood out to me the most, is that they did their work.
Who did they play this weekend?
Was it the Chargers, I believe?
Yes, you're right. It was the Chargers. Okay, I couldn't put my finger on it. Yeah, that was supposed to be a high-scoring game, but I think Tampa just came back and beat him in the second half, like 20 unanswered scored points or something. So
yeah, a couple long ones on Mike Evans too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he had a couple touchdowns too. All right, so Buccaneers, they are on a bit of a tear here, 4 in a row, sitting at 8-6 atop their division now, fending off the Falcons, I believe. The Falcons pulled out a win last night to get to 7-7. Luca, what about you? What do you got for the weekend?
We might have seen a Super Bowl preview with the Bills versus the Lions, and boy, was it a shootout. I could not turn my head away because every single time I go to look away, something else was happening on that field. Over 40 points by each team is absolutely amazing game to watch. Anybody who has those folks in fantasy football, wow, you should be sending them a postcard your first week in the playoffs, just wrecking teams with those players. I mean, what a performance. That was fun to watch. That was some fun football. And if that's going to be a repeat of the Super Bowl, I'm down. I'm down to watch that. One of those teams could win a Super Bowl. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, first one for either team. The Bills have been to 4, haven't won one. As we like to point out here to the Detroit Lions fans that watch this, you guys haven't been to one. So it's been long 59 years of waiting. So yes, if either one of those teams wins the Super Bowl, I kind of hope it'd be the Bills, but that's just me personally. But to your point, though, I just want to touch on that. Yeah, Jared Goff threw 400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that was insane. Yeah, I think they had one drive that took, what was it, like 75 yards, 2 minutes and 2 seconds, and it was all Jared Goff passing down. It's like, what? So no, good call on that game. I agree with you 100% on that. I'm going to touch on the Packers game a little bit real quick. The Packers first half, that's the team you're looking for.
Yeah.
The second half got a little bit bumpy there, although their defense stepped it up. It just makes me wonder, like, I really don't feel Seattle is that strong of a team yet. And to that point, I think we need to talk about the 12th man in Seattle.
In yards per game. A lot of Packer fans.
Wow.
I mean, a lot have made the trip.
Maybe going to the silent count at home here.
That was overcome by go Pack go chants. You could hear that the whole game. You saw a lot of cheeseheads in the stand, a lot of green and yellow. So I think the fans of Seattle know that this isn't a Super Bowl caliber team. And I think they're willing to sell their tickets to Packers fans, and who knows, maybe they're a little bit more interested in hockey right now. They have a hockey team that hasn't gone to, a Stanley Cup, and maybe they're getting behind them. Maybe they're a 12th man for hockey. So that's my final note on the NFL. Let's talk a little bit about the NCAA here. A little bit of controversy with the Heisman. Travis Hunter, the wide receiver / cornerback from Colorado, wins the Heisman this year, and he won it. I wouldn't call it overwhelmingly, over Ashton Genty from the Boise State. However, he did win convincingly, we'll say. But I really, really feel like that might be a little bit of controversy. Ashton Genty had probably and I hope I'm saying his name right, so please forgive me if I'm not. But he had probably the second best season by a running back in NCAA football history. In a little bit, we'll kind of compare that versus one, Barry Sanders' amazing season back in the 80s. And then we're also going to compare it to Mark Ingram's 09 Heisman winning season. So keep that in mind. But I want to get your guys' take on it. Ashton Genty, the running back from Boise State, versus Travis Hunter, wide receiver, DB, two-way player out of Colorado. What do you guys got?
Well, my thoughts. I actually had Genty as getting it, and number 2 being Dylan Gabriel, just simply off of what he did, leading his team to an undefeated record. Penn State, big win, and you had Ohio State, big win. 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, over 3,500 yards. I thought that was solid, and to take that program that just now entered into the Big Ten and do what it did, play against top teams every week in and week out. I thought that's where it was at. You look at Travis Hunter, he's the only player, I feel like, the only player who's a two-way player from high school that wasn't asked, hey, you got to give up one. Deion's in town, so they let him play as a two-way player because that's what he wanted. Great. He had decent stats as a wide receiver. He had 4 picks on defense. I mean, he put up some decent stats. How many other players are there out there that could have done that had they been a two-way player, had they been allowed to be a two-way player? That's why I'm not as impressed with it. What Ashton did, man, beast. Yeah, they only played against UNLV, who was ranked. They are in the playoffs, so you're really going to get to see what he can do here in the playoffs. I think the guy's a beast. I think it should have been him or Dylan Gabriel. I don't think it should have been Travis Hunter. Humble opinion.
Yeah, if I can just quick interject on that point, you make a great point here. I want to just point our attentions to the wide receiver. His last name is Nash out of San Jose State. In the NCAA, he actually he was a Triple Crown winner in NCAA for wide receivers, right? Receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns. So Travis Hunter didn't lead any of those categories as a wide receiver. Now, I get it. He's primarily a DB, but have 96 receptions as a non-primary wide receiver, great. But and he didn't lead any of those stats. So just a quick little note there. But Billy, I do want to hear what you have to say about this.
Sure. I think it's super cool. He won it, two-way player first since Charles Woodson, which I think was a little nostalgic to feel, but
yes, yep.
A little bit just makes me think, how much is this now a popularity contest? I feel like Colorado has, so much hype around them. You had a lot of stars going out to Colorado to watch their games. I feel like Boise was a little under the radar, underappreciated. So it just makes me wonder how much of it was a popularity contest.
100% agree with that. That's a great call. And yeah, a lot of that is brought on by the Deion Sanders effect for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Great points. And I did just want to finish up on the whole Ashton Genty thing. So some of his stats for this year, and I'm just going to read them off. And I'm going to compare him against Barry Sanders and Mark Ingram. So Ashton Genty played 13 games. He had 344 attempts, ran for 2,497 yards, 29 rushing touchdowns. And now here's the stat I like: 192 rushing yards per game. Okay, so that was this year in the world in the football world we live in now, where players are more like machines and robots and faster, bigger, stronger than ever. So he still just did that. I'm going to first start with Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram back in 2009 won the Heisman with these stats. Okay, 14 games, one more game played. Less carries, though, 271 carries versus Ashton's 344. But here's the thing, only 1,658 rushing yards, only 17 rushing touchdowns compared to 29, and 118 yards per game versus 192. That was an 09 Heisman winning campaign for a running back. Now, the part that's going to blow your mind here is just what Barry Sanders did. Again, Barry Sanders is probably, if not top 2 running backs of all time, in at least in my mind. But this is what he did at Oklahoma State. 11 games, so 2 games less than Ashton Genty. Still had 344 carries, so identical carries. 2,628 rushing yards. And now don't forget, he also threw on 109 pass receiving yards too. But anyway, 2,628 rushing yards in 11 games, 37 rushing touchdowns, and then 238 rushing
Get
yards
out.
per game. So
Wow,
again,
that's staggering.
that was the best rushing season that we have ever seen. And Ashton Genty put up the second best rushing season we've ever seen. Luca, I love your points about the quarterback out of Oregon. I do love the fact that
I
Travis
don't like
Hunter,
Oregon either, but you got to give respect.
yeah, absolutely. But Travis Hunter being a two-way player, you don't see that much. So, like Billy said, this is very nostalgic, very cool. So it's a toss-up for me though. I would have gone a different direction personally, but that's why we vote. So. Great topics, and again, college football kind of hit up. All right, perfect. Moving on. It is time for us now to talk a little bit about fantasy football. This is our last portion of just football as a whole. Luca, you were talking a little bit earlier about the fact that Bills Lions game, some of those players just lit us up. I was one of the people that got lit up by that 2-time defending champ that we can't talk about, and I'm out of the playoffs. I'm done. I'm out. You know what? Now I can enjoy football. I don't care. But what are your guys' takes about last week's fantasy, but maybe also who do we think is going to lead teams into the quarterfinal or semifinals here of fantasy football? Billy, let's start with you because you are coming off a bye just like Luca is.
It was nice just to enjoy football and not have to be glued to my fantasy team. So it's nice. I think, man, so which players are going to propel me to the championship?
Yep.
My got to be quarterbacks, because the way your league's set up, you got to have good quarterbacks, and that's what carried me this season to have the second best record. So I'm rolling with it. I'm striking while that's hot. So I have to have good quarterback play.
Okay, Luca.
Yeah, I totally agree with Billy. I mean, that's what's got me there too. Great quarterbacks. I pretty much have all of Baltimore's teams. So that Baltimore versus Pittsburgh game, if Pittsburgh shuts down the Ravens, I'm out. Simple as that. I'm out. I would love to see Lamar go off again like he did last week. If he can do that, I think I got a chance. But best of luck to you, Billy. I mean, you're playing against a back-to-back champ who doesn't seem to want to let that up, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I'll need all thoughts this weekend.
Thoughts and prayers.
Any fan support for this guy will be appreciated.
So, okay, let's just dive into that real quick. Luca, you talked about Pittsburgh's defense. I think they scored 14 points this last week. Now they are going up against that offense in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Do we feel that they can shut down that Baltimore offense?
I mean, Derrick Henry is well rested. He didn't play for like a good quarter of the game. Didn't need to. Lamar was just out there having fun against the Giants. I think that team's going to be well rested, and they know what they have to go up against with Pittsburgh. It's some serious competition. So if you want to be serious and say, hey, we're going to be here to contend for the Super Bowl, you got to show up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has a chip on their shoulder, especially Russ. Can't miss at all. So that's going to be a big blockbuster game.
Okay, hey, now you make great points. Great blockbuster game. That's going to be a good one. Definitely looking forward to it. Before we leave the fantasy topic, is there anything you guys want a quick note about fantasy football?
Good luck, Billy. Best of luck to you, man. I hope I get to play you next week in the Super Bowl. I hope I make the Super Bowl.
Same to you. I think I really rooting for the both of us because I think this would be a very nice topic to talk about next week. There'll be a lot of hype. So
This would be great for you
Yeah.
guys to go back and forth on next week.
Yeah,
if
and
we
I need
do
to
make the Super Bowl.
find my ring. If I make it, I'm gonna wear my ring next episode and flex that a little bit.
Have to. You have to. All gentlemen, good luck. Hopefully the two of you make it to the Super Bowl now that I am out. But again, I get to just enjoy football this week, and I'm super looking forward to that. So good luck, gentlemen, and may the winner get to the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, let's
All right.
right. Okay.
I hope
So shifting gears, fellas. We need to talk about, because it is just about a little after 7:30 here. We need to talk about the NBA Cup. So let's dive into the fact that it is the Milwaukee Bucks, who are currently sitting at 14-11, the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, are in the championship game going against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 20-5 and first in the Western Conference this year. Great game going on. There's a lot of hype on this one. It's in Las Vegas, and two of the best teams, arguably, in the NBA. Now that the Bucks are on a 12-2 run, basically, is what it feels like. So why don't you guys talk to me a little bit about what we're looking for in this game? What do the Bucks need to do to be able to hold off the Oklahoma City Thunder? Luca, let's start with you.
stop Shea. If that guy gets going, there's no stopping him. Howie didn't win MVP last year. Yeah, stiff competition, but the guy is blossomed. Clippers messed up by trading him away. This guy is the franchise. Stop him and Giannis and Dame. They've already been doing their stuff. And here's one other thing to add: get AJ Green going. Get that guy going. Get him shooting threes tonight. They hit those threes and they stop Shea. Game over. I think the Bucks got it then.
Who is Shea? I don't know his name. I don't know.
Shea Gildas.
Shea Gildas.
Shea Gildas Alexander. Yep.
Okay. Oh, is that what they call him? SGA? Is that his?
Yep. He's their franchise.
Okay. Did they have another player that came out of nowhere last year to be really good, or was it just him?
Oh, they had a couple. They had
Okay.
a couple guys
I
come
thought there
out
was
of
another
nowhere.
one
They've
that
been
came out.
drafting really, really well.
Okay.
Yeah, Chet Holmgren, he was injured. His rookie year, he came out. He was a beast. They got Jalen Williams. They got 2 Jalen Williams. So be mindful of the 2 Jalen Williams. But one of them blew up, came out of nowhere. Didn't expect him to come out averaging almost 20 points a game. Yeah, they got some young talent, some really young talent that could really do some things in the NBA. Kind of
Okay.
reminds me of a old Oklahoma City team from back in the day.
I want to do Billy. I want to reach out to you though. What does a win mean for the Milwaukee Bucks here, and what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm feeling optimistic. I mean, I feel like they're starting to mesh and find their groove. They undefeated in the cup, so I feel like this is going to make a statement. There's plenty of season left, and I just feel like they're just starting to get in the swing of things. And to answer your question on what they need to do tonight, I saw something that Kevin Garnett was there for their media day and said, he was talking to Giannis, just saying, like, you found your mid-range shooting, keep it up, and told him that, if you keep doing that, it's going to open up so much other opportunities in his game. Giannis is having a career year in points and shooting percentage.
Mhm.
So if they just keep that up, I feel like they're going to just be a force.
How does this propel the Bucks throughout the rest of the year?
I think it's going to give them confidence.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think with Doc Rivers as your coach, you need that confidence, because I think he can work. He works well with that, right? Like, he knows he's got players with swagger. So I'm excited to see where this can go if the Bucks do pull this off tonight, because this is a big win. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder sitting there at 20-5, right? I think the Cavaliers are 21-4,
Mhm.
the top 2 teams in the league. And if you can pull a win, and if it can be in good fashion against that Oklahoma City team, I think, like, to Billy, your point, I think that really does go. It says a lot about that Milwaukee Bucks team, that not overrated, and maybe we are ready.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they just need to play team ball. Don't play with ego. Just play the unit, play team ball, play to each other's strengths, and good things will happen.
All right. Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Any last?
I definitely. One last thing. I definitely think Dame and Giannis have found that, hey, it's not about stats, it's about how they work with each other. I think they're over the whole ego thing. I like watching them play together.
Agreed.
Perfect.
We're going to transition here to our next topic that we wanted to talk about today. So obviously it's the MLB off season. However, a lot of big things happening right now. Just in this last week, we're going to talk about 4 things. So first, these are the couple things that we had going on. We had 2 big deals happen. Willie Adames leaving the Brewers, going to the San Francisco Giants for 7 years, $182 million. Right after that, Juan Soto signs a deal, leaving the Yankees, going to the Mets for 15 years, $765 million. Okay. Now, quick little tidbit about that. There is an opt-out after the 2029 season. Money gets a little bit fuzzy there. Anyway, 15 years, $765 million. The other 2 deals we're going to talk about, trades. We had a big trade for the Milwaukee Brewers this last week in sending Devin Williams, Airbender, sending him to the New York Yankees. In return, we get Nestor Cortez, the left-handed pitcher, and we get a little-known Caleb Durbin, second baseman, who has been lighting up Arizona Fall League. So we'll talk a little bit about him and his ties to Wisconsin, which are actually kind of cool. Pat Murphy's had a chance to see him already. And then finally, today, the Chicago Cubs traded former MVP Cody Bellinger to the Yankees. And in return, they did get right-handed pitcher Cody Petit. So let's start with the very first thing that happened over the last week. Willie Adames leaving the Milwaukee Brewers, going to the San Francisco Giants, 7 years, $182 million. What are our takes, Billy?
It's frustrating being a small market sports fan. It's frustrating. It's sad to see him go. I feel like we're always losing the good ones to a team that has more money. But he's in the prime of his career. He's a good hitter, good fielder. I feel like the Giants are probably getting an upgrade at the shortstop position, and I think he'll do great things for him. I am curious to see how he's going to hit at the Giants ballpark. AmFam Field in Milwaukee, I feel like is a very home run friendly ballpark where he's hitting 30 plus home runs. So I am curious to see like how he's going to do in a different ballpark playing the majority of his games there.
All great points. Agreed. AmFam, very hitter friendly. I think out there in San Francisco too, it might be a little bit hitter friendly, but everything's outdoors there. So we'll see. Luca, what do you got for us on that one?
So, yeah, congrats to Willie. Way to get a great contract. I mean, this off season was catered to him, right? Not much depth there at shortstop for anybody to really go after. So great. You had a career year. You got your contract. Are you worth every penny of it? I don't know. So this is what I looked at it with it and valuing being a small market team, like Billy said. Let's go back to Xander Bogaerts. He had a career year in 2022. And yes, he had some great years before that, but he's also a shortstop. Signed with San Diego, made $25.5 million a year, $500,000 off. But his stats for that year, he had 5.9 WAR. He batted .307, and his fielding percentage was .983. All around, just absolutely amazing for what he did that year. Worth every dime. Not necessarily showing it this year. So also, to what Billy's saying, he's going to be in a different park. It's not going to be as hitter friendly, and that's where he shines. Because his fielding percentage this year was .963. He's double-digit errors every single year with the Brewers, except for, I think, the first year because he only played half of the season with us. And then he batted .251, and his WAR this year was 3.1. Is he worth it? I'm okay letting that go. I'm definitely okay letting that go, especially after the trade that we got. So good for you, man. Sucks being a small market team, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I can totally agree. Both of you, great points, great topics. The other thing that I'd like to add to this is Joey Ortiz. Does he make the move to shortstop? Or do we leave him at third? What do we do with the shortstop position now? Because we got Bryce Turang sitting there at second base, Gold Glove, Joey Ortiz, third or fourth in rookie of the year voting, I think, at third base. Bryce Hoskins at first. So you're just missing someone at that shortstop position. So who goes there? Is it Joey Ortiz? Do you bring Sal Frelick from the outfield? Don't know. I'm super interested to see what the Brewers do this year at that shortstop position. Is it someone coming up from AAA, AA, makes the spring training camp and makes the team, stays up? Don't know. But that's the best thing about baseball is you just don't know. So moving on, I'd like to talk about Juan Soto. The biggest deal in ever, right? Like bigger than the Shohei Ohtani deal. 15 years with the Mets. So he stays in New York, but he goes from the Yankees to the Mets, $765 million. Wow. Right? Like he bet on himself when he left the National, when the Nationals traded him, because they offered him like 14 years, $400 million. Said no, bet on himself, made it big in New York, went to a World Series, lost, but now he gets to go to the Mets. Are the Mets on the rise now? And is it the Mets better than the Yankees? Don't know. What do we got? Start us off, fellas. Billy, what are your thoughts on the Juan Soto deal?
I don't know much about this one. I just know he said that he wants to build a dynasty. So he probably saw something with the Mets. Considering how far the Mets went last season, I think weren't they kind of more of an underdog last season, or kind of made a further push than what people were thinking?
Yep.
I feel like
they beat the Brewers in the wild card.
Right.
They were supposed to go to the World Series and keep that curse going for the Brewers, but go ahead, finish your point.
Yeah, I just feel like he saw something special with the Mets, wanted to build that dynasty, and that's probably why he made his decision. But I was going to ask, didn't he refuse to sign a long-term deal a couple years back or something?
Yeah, that was with the Nationals when they offered him that 14 years, and he said no, and he bet on himself. So
yeah.
Luca, give me your thoughts.
So yeah, the Nationals offered him a 15-year, $440 million. He did bet on himself, and yes, it paid off. Although his hitting was better with the Nationals, his WAR has jumped up on year-to-year average, and he had a 7.9 WAR this year. He's becoming a more well-rounded player. So betting on himself, I think, was absolutely amazing. I think he did see what Stearns is doing and what they're building over there. They got some prospects that could come up too and do some things. So how that team's trending. Hey, I think the Dodgers need to spend their money as much as possible right now because there's a lot smarter teams out there, and having David Stearns run your team, I think you're sitting pretty good. So solid move by Juan. Love it. Congrats to him on that contract. That's absolutely amazing. I hope I could see that money at least once in my life. No, it will never happen, but hey, congrats to him.
All right, well said. Perfect. Yeah, 2 huge free agent signings this last week. Also, 2 big trades. And here we go with the Brewers again, right? Devin Williams. He was coming up in the last year of his contract. We did trade him. I should say wasn't me. I didn't trade him. But the Milwaukee Brewers traded Devin Williams to the New York Yankees for Nestor Cortez. He's the guy, left-handed pitcher that can do some of those interesting windups and trying to throw the hitter off. So if you haven't seen any of those, go ahead and YouTube Nestor Cortez and some of his unique pitching styles. But then we also did get that second baseman, Caleb Durbin. So let's talk a little bit about that trade. I'm going to just quick start this one because my only thing is I feel bad for Devin Williams and the fact that he's going to have to cut off his beard. The Yankees rule, right? Like you got to cut the beard off. So feel bad for him that way. Maybe, he was starting to fall into that hater where, maybe you're starting to see his stuff a little bit. They're starting to get to him. Obviously, we did lose that wild card game against the Mets when he was up there to save it for us. I don't think that's why they traded him. I think they wanted to get something in return, and they really think that they liked Caleb Durbin. So I think that was the part that they wanted. I think they got it. So let's talk a little bit more about it. Let's get your thoughts, Luca.
All right. Yeah, that trade was going to happen no matter what. It just was, who are the prospects going to be? Who are they going to get in return? I think Nestor Cortez, great pickup. He's got another year of arbitration. to mess around with before anything happens. But he's that arm that we need right now. Durbin, we're looking at him at shortstop. So as far as a replacement for Willie Adames, this guy might start the year in AAA, but look for him to get called up at the end of April, maybe beginning of May, and take over Willie's spot. That's going to be our guy. He's batting, 287. He had over 10 home runs in AAA. He dominated in fall ball. I got to watch him, in fact. Had no idea. Had I known that he was going to be a Milwaukee Brewer, I would have watched more of his games. So the guy can hit. The guy can play. I think his defense is more well-rounded than Willie's as well. So he's due. The fact that he was drafted in 2021, we're ready to bring him up already, and you got Nestor Cortez out of it. Amazing trade for the Brewers. Devin Williams, go shave your beard and be miserable. I think that was a little jab at Devin Williams. Like, hey, you want to go punch a wall? You want to go mess around a little bit? Go shave your beard.
All right. Strong words from Luca. Billy, what do you got for us? What are your takes on this trade?
I'm going to start off by saying, Luca, never go to the Yankees because I never want to see you shave that beard.
Everybody's going to see I don't have a chin.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
No.
I'm okay with it. I feel like the Brewers got rid of him when they could get some value out of him. I did see that he said something that he was surprised that he was traded to the Yankees, not the Dodgers, because I guess he has some ties to the Dodgers. But I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this Cortez guy pitch. Don't know much about him. I saw some clips. I did look him up on YouTube, T West. So I'm glad you said that. And I saw that one weird pitch where he kind of like wound up. He like faked his throw and then threw it. I'm like, is that not a balk? Like, why is that not a balk? Is it because he didn't put his foot down, or what's the loophole with that one?
As far as I know, it's because he kept his foot on touching the pitching mound, like the base on the pitching mounds. All you have to do, you just have to make sure your foot doesn't lift off from there, and you're okay. That's and there may be more to a balk. I don't know, but that's the only little bit I know is that you have to at least remain touching that bag somehow.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, I feel like Brewers get, rid of the pitchers like that, and they always, try to, get some value out of it. So we'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And just to add on that, because that's a great point, we are going to be fine. Looks like Trevor McGill is slotted to take over that closer position. And now a little bit of notes on him. Milwaukee went 48-33 without Devin Williams. 20 of those saves were for Trevor McGill. The Brewers bullpen in that time frame had a 3.33 ERA, which was second in the NL. 35 saves, second in the NL. 228 average, third in the NL, and a 1.9 whip, third in the NL. So yes, I agree, Billy. You are absolutely correct. We are going to be fine. We're going to put the next guy up, and I really believe it's going to be Trevor McGill. And maybe it's going to be even better because Trevor McGill's, I'm not going to say new, however, people have seen Devin Williams, right? He's the all-star. So they're catching up to him. They haven't seen a lot of this guy yet. So maybe that is something that works to our advantage here.
And side note real quick, watch Abner Uribe. He's going to be back this next year. That guy could be our setup man. And who knows, he could be the next man up after we trade away Trevor for the next guy.
That's a great point. Abner Uribe, I don't think I've seen a guy effortlessly throw over 100 miles per hour like he did. Ton of fun to watch. Just needs to stay on the field, right? Like stop getting suspended, and we'll be okay.
And could you imagine back-to-back pitchers coming up that throw completely different? Both throw over 100 miles an hour. Wow.
That's going to be hard to handle in 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
Nope. Billy, you're right. I think we're going to be okay. Luca, good call on the Abner Uribe coming back. Let's finish up our talk with this trade. Just a quick note on the Caleb Durbin. We talked a little bit about his ties to Wisconsin. So current Brewers manager Pat Murphy had a chance to actually watch Caleb Durbin play in Wisconsin here. So Pat Murphy's son Kai used to play in the Northwest League, an independent baseball league where college players can play and semi-pro players will play baseball. So Caleb Durbin played for the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders of the Northwoods League there. So
Really?
Pat Murphy liked him. Pat Murphy's had a chance to see him play before, and so there's a little bit of ties that he's was playing in the Northwoods League for the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders. So kind of a neat little thing there. Yeah, Pat Murphy's son Kai played in that same league.
That's
so
cool.
a little bit of a crossover there, but a good chance for them to get to meet each other, I guess, or at least Pat Murphy got to see him play. So finishing up that trade, going to the one today. Former MVP Cody Bellinger, 2019 MVP, which he stole from Christian Yelich, FYI. Just saying, because he was a Dodger, didn't even have better stats that year. I'm still kind of not over that. But anyway, he gets
missed
traded
half
today.
a month. He missed half the month.
Popularity contest. Told you. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
Right. So again, but you're exactly right. Popularity contest. Here's a Dodger, Anyway. So but today gets traded from the Cubs to the Yankees. 2 years ago, Cody had a really good resurgence that first year with the Cubs. Then he fell off again last year. Got traded for Cody Petit. I don't know much about him. This trade just broke a little bit before we were talking. But what are your thoughts about Cody Bellinger now with the Yankees?
Good. Get him out of the Central. Don't want to see him playing against him in the Cubs. Whoever that new guy is, I hope he's horrible too, especially because he's a Cub.
Billy, what do you think?
All these big market teams are getting stacked and stacked. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw another Yankee Dodger World Series.
Right. That's just kind of always how it is right now. The more you can pay, the better you get. And yeah, no, it's unfortunate because I think it would be nice to see some smaller market teams be able to break that hump like the Kansas City Royals did a few years back. Obviously, we want to see the Brewers get one for Euchre and just for us Brewer fans of 50 plus years. So, quick note on that Cody Petit. In 83 major league innings, he does have a 3.8 ERA. And he's 30 years old. So, okay. Great topic, MLB. We have covered that. So, going to actually move on to Conspiracy Corner here. Luca, thanks for rejoining us. Glad to see you again. So,
hey, sorry, I went to go click off at the Bucks game real quick to see what the score was, and then it just decided to shut everything out. I'm like, oh, okay.
Luca, why are you the way you are?
Hey, this computer, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a boomer. Technology is not friendly.
How are the Bucks doing? How's it going? Here's our first live in-game break. What do we got?
It looks like 25-23 in favor of Milwaukee with 1:32 left in the first.
Okay, right. So neither team is running away with this. Pretty competitive right now. Good first quarter for the Bucks. So let us know what's going on. Keep us informed. So as I was saying, we were going to move away from Major League Baseball. We were going to jump into Conspiracy Corner. So Conspiracy Corner, episode 3. We've moved away from NFL script writing, and now we're going to go back to baseball. We talked a little bit basketball. Talked a little bit about it last week. Are you guys ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Okay, so this week's Conspiracy Corner involves Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, at first, as I was researching this, I thought only had one son in the NBA. Now, obviously, we know his paternal children, and none of them play in the NBA, at least the ones we know about. So I thought there was one. Turns out there's two, and the other one I thought actually has more evidence than the first one. Now, who is this first player that we're talking about? We're talking about Anthony Edwards, Ant, from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Ant, is 23 years old, was born in August of 2001. 2001. Turns out Michael Jordan is on record for saying that in late 2000, early 2001, so we're looking at December-ish, right? This was a time frame in which 3 to 5 women per day he was getting with them. He doesn't actually know, right? So he's come out and said that, but that would line up perfectly for Ant's current age at 23 years old. He was raised without a father. Now, for those of you on Spotify, You're not going to be able to see the poster or the picture that I'm going to post here, but on YouTube, we're going to be able to see a side by side. They look almost identical. It's actually kind of scary. And now, if you watch, you can look up on YouTube like Conspiracy of Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan. The body movements are the same. Now, obviously, you can train yourself to be like this, to look like someone, to act like someone. But movements are the same. Body style is the same. His look is the same. Everything is very, very similar. So everyone was thinking that Anthony Edwards is Michael Jordan's kid. Raised without a father. Side by side looks a lot alike. The time frame is correct. That was my first thought, Anthony Edwards. But then I did a little bit more digging. Jimmy Butler. Now this one gets a little bit deeper. So a couple notes on this one. So Jimmy Butler was a small town in Houston. Same time frame, 2000, 2001. No, I'm sorry, not the same time frame, different time frame. However, what we find here is that Jimmy Butler's mom, so Jimmy Butler grew up without a father. Jimmy Butler's mom is on record for having said that his father left, but it was to save his name. So this would have been Michael Jordan, right? Not being with his family and having been with Jimmy Butler's mom. So he left. Jimmy Butler had a little bit of a rough growing up, to the point where he was thrown out of the house at 13. This was said, mom came out and said that it was because Jimmy Butler looked like his paternal father. But what we find out is that Michael Jordan was paying someone for 13 years. And that as soon as those payments stopped at 13 years. So that's the same time that Jimmy Butler's mom threw him out. Michael Jordan stopped paying. So
Interesting.
we have that. And again, look up the side-by-side comparison. Look up the fadeaways. Look up just the looks. And I know you can train yourself to be like that. But and the other thing, so looking at it too, did it help per se? This is the last topic I want to talk about here on this. From coming from me, though, did it help for Michael Jordan to not get in the way? Because look at Bronny James now. Is LeBron James the only reason that Bronny is in the NBA? And is it actually being counterproductive for Bronny? Sitting in the G League, he scored 30 points a game, I guess, that game. But did Michael Jordan not, with having not allowed his name to be a part of this, did it give these guys the opportunity to make it on their own? So just something else to think about there, though. But I just find it interesting that it's Jimmy Butler's mom said that this guy left to save his name. She received payments for 13 years, and that was from Michael Jordan. And that as soon as those payments stopped, Jimmy Butler was kicked out of the house. So maybe Michael Jordan has two kids in the NBA, in Jimmy Butler and Anthony Edwards. So something to think about it. If you guys want to dig a little deeper, go ahead, do your own kind of conspiracy and research. But that is today's Conspiracy Corner, is Michael Jordan having two kids in the NBA. And he even came out and said, though, he's pretty sure he's got kids in the NBA. So whatever, to each their own. But let me get your guys' thoughts. What do you think about this? Do you think Anthony Edwards and Jimmy Butler are actually Michael Jordan's kids?
Anything's possible.
Yep.
I can see it.
I think for sure. And with what you said about Jimmy Butler, makes sense. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Payment stop. He gets tossed out. And you know what? You said him not being a pitcher, did that help them in their skill? I mean, obviously, genetics. You didn't have a father figure to help you out. Genetics. So, yeah, that's some Jordan-esque stuff right there. As far as Bronny being hurt, I mean, Michael Jordan had a kid. He played for Illinois. He had better stats than Bronny Jr.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't make the NBA. So, Maybe Jordan being out of the picture was actually better for Jimmy Butler and for Ant. But
Right.
either way, both those guys can ball out. Man, if they would like to come to Milwaukee, that'd be great.
Well, obviously, Jimmy Butler was at Marquette. So
Come home, Jimmy. Come home.
Here's how I look at this. So you have Kobe Bryant, who idolized Michael Jordan, emulated his game over Michael Jordan. That's everybody knows that.
Yep.
And I feel like if you have Ant or Jimmy Butler that don't know their dad or know that Michael Jordan's his dad, you wouldn't want to be like him. You probably have some sort of resentment. So to what Lucas said, if it's genetics, their games are very similar to Jordan's, like just the way they play. So it's like maybe it is a genetic thing and they weren't emulating their game over someone.
Right, that absolutely could be. Could just be the
Possible.
way it goes. So, So everyone, if give us your thoughts and your questions and your comments. Post those down below about the Conspiracy Corner. Is Michael Jordan the dad or not? I don't actually know. Do any of us really know? But that's why we have this Conspiracy Corner.
Ooh,
All right,
that was a good one. I like that.
Okay,
Getting good with that timer.
Yeah, that was perfect timing, guys. It's time for us to move on to. This is a new segment we have because we want to be able to reach out to each and every one of you individually for something that's important to us. This is our in the mind of, right? So we're gonna dive deep into the mind of the Bildo, into the mind of the Luca, and maybe a little bit of whatever's left in here. So I would like to start first, and let's go deep diving into the mind of Bildo with what we ought to know.
What we ought to know. So about me. So obviously I like sports. This is why we're here. But I have a lot of other hobbies too. I like music. I like to play guitar. But the one thing I like to call out, because it is winter time here, and winter time I usually have a project I like to do out in the garage. So haven't started it yet, but my plan is I like to get some old motorcycles, fix them up, have some fun with them, and then sell them. So last summer I bought this mid 2000s Honda cruiser type bike. So my plan is to turn it into like a little bit of a bobber. So just, kind of get some, get some, custom parts for it, work on it over the winter, have a little hobby. So that's what I'd like to do. So maybe I'll send some pictures over.
What's a bobber?
It's like a style of bike. It's kind of like a stripped down bike, solo seat, kind of like blacked out, shorty handlebars, kind of like, like this.
Okay.
The license plate over to the side with like the shaved rear fender.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely. Give us some befores and afters as you get going on it, and keep us up to date with how that's going.
Sure. Yeah.
So sounds awesome.
Yeah. So to answer your question, what goes through my mind is going like, oh, what should I do with this? How should I make it look? How should I do that? So I'm debating. I'm playing ping pong in my brain a little bit.
Okay. No, very cool. Thank you for that. Luca, I'm only going to give you like 7 seconds because nobody really cares. So what do you got?
All right. Clearly, I'm diehard into auto racing. Family's been into it for a while. I'm watching Formula One. Unfortunately, I think the news is coming out about Checo.
Sorry.
Checo, if you leave Red Bull, I'll be extremely sad. But maybe it is better for it. So keep it posted, guys. You're going to watch Drive to Survive. You're going to see a lot of crap talked about Checo, my driver, and him not being with Red Bull, or he shouldn't be with Red Bull. And I think that's about to happen. I don't think he's going to be with Red Bull or with any other team. So that's going to be sad for me.
Okay. No, very cool. Yeah, we do know you're big into Formula One. So if anyone has any questions or comments and wants to just talk back and forth with Luca, let us know about Formula One. We can always try to make that happen. We have some plans in the future. No matter, we're going to keep that a little bit hidden for us about Formula One and what Luca might be doing for that. But stay tuned as we dive a little deeper more into that. So thank you, Luca, for that. The little bit for me about what I think you ought to know going into this week and the future for us is I'm going to dive into. It's never too early to talk about the playoff picture and possible seedings, even though seedings aren't set, right? I feel like it's very fluid, but being that I'm a Packers fan, obviously you can see all this stuff here. Right now, the Packers are pretty strong into that 6 seed. going to play the 3 seed, and whether that's the NFC South or whether that's the NFC West, we'll see. If that's the case right now, it's going to be the Rams or the Buccaneers. Then you start looking at things a little differently, because if it was the Seahawks, we see what we just did. But if it's the Rams, they're a little stronger. They always come on strong at the end of the year. We've had good playoff success against them. But to Billy's point earlier, the Buccaneers are a team I don't want to face. Last year, they went into Philadelphia and beat the Eagles, and they're on fire again. So that could be a really, really good game, Packers, Buccaneers. But we haven't had the greatest success against them lately, and they are just on fire. Good coach, good defense going on there. Baker Mayfield is hitting stride. So just talking about the playoffs, we're probably going to stay in that 6th seed. Then it just depends on who we end up playing, whether maybe it's the West and the Rams, maybe it's the South and the Buccaneers. You guys let us know, though. What are your thoughts? Again, never too early to talk about NFC playoff or NFL playoff seeding. What could it look like? What could be the what ifs? So that's my what to know, and I look forward to hearing some of your responses. So, all right, it is time.
So nice to hear that buzzer go off on you.
Fuck you. It is time for trivia.
You
Really?
get the buzzer just for you, Luca.
It was for you, Luca. I swear the buzzer's for you.
You rambling bitch ass.
I'm gonna have nightmares about that thing.
Good. All right, take it away, Billy.
Trivia time. Okay, so T. West said at the beginning of the show he is leading Luca 4-3. So same rules, same everything. Going to ask you 6 questions, back and forth. Have the chance to steal. Follow up by again another whopping 2-point bonus question. So T. West, you are in the lead. So instead of picking a number, you get to pick if you want to go first or if you want to defer to Luca.
I'm going to go first.
You're going to go first. All right.
Yep.
Question number 1.
Don't give away possessions. Go score every time.
All right. I like it. Question 1.
Okay, Green Bay.
Who won the NBA Rookie of the Year in 2020?
Oh, Christ. That's a Luca question. Who won the NBA Rookie of the Year in 2020? Can I pass? I actually don't know. So I wasn't Anthony Edwards, right? He's been playing for longer than that. So that's my guess, and I know I'm wrong.
All right. Luca?
2020 was in the bubble. Zion? Williamson.
Incorrect.
No, it was Ja Morant then.
It was Ja Morant.
Okay.
Oh man,
I
forgot
picked
he
a
got
question
hurt.
for the Grizzlies because I realized last week I said Memphis Grizzlies for my uniform, and I didn't say Vancouver.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I had to throw a Grizzly in there. So
That was a good question.
all right, incorrect for both.
I don't know
right.
why I said Zion. I don't know why I said Zion.
Yeah,
I knew it was Ja.
Yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yup. Again.
Question 2, Luca. What was the name of the NFL championship game before the Super Bowl era?
Ooh. This is a T West question.
This is how I wanted to go.
To be fair, these are all PJ questions because PJ knows all the answers. So
yeah, according to him, he knows all the answers. I'm gonna say it was the championship.
The championship? That's your answer?
Yeah, the championship.
All right. T. West, you want to steal?
I want to steal.
Steal.
So I got it wrong.
It was the AFL NFL World Championship game.
Correct. Sorry, Luca.
Dang it. All right. That is what it is.
All right. And now T. West gets to double down.
All right.
Question 3.
Double
The New
down.
England Patriots have the longest winning streak in the NFL history at how many games?
Oh, Christ. 24.
That is incorrect.
Dang it. I knew it. Okay.
Luca, redemption time.
Yeah, because it goes into the previous season
Right.
and ended with that Super Bowl. They finished off that last season. You said 24. I think it was 23.
21.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Man,
Yeah, I thought it was because we're counting the previous year's Super Bowl and playoff run,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
would have been okay. All right. All right.
And again, this is all just Google, so I don't. I mean, I'm guessing it's.
Oh,
it's
these are
accurate, so-
Oh my God, these are great questions. I'm gonna phone a friend in PJ next time. So
We'll see. We'll see. He can put his.
I'll
money where his
phone
mouth
an enemy and call PJ.
is.
He won't
I don't even
answer.
know who's up. Is Luca? Are you up now?
Luca's up.
All right.
Yeah.
Question 4. What basketball player won an Oscar for Best Animated Short Film in 2018?
You be thinking about Anthony Edwards. No. Can I change that?
I'm going to let Travis pick that one.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What basketball player won an Oscar for Best Animated Short Film in 2018?
I'm gonna let Luca take his. He can change it.
Okay. Go ahead, Luca.
No. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I'll give a hint if you want a hint.
Yeah, throw out a hint.
I kind of laid an Easter egg earlier in this show for what the answer is.
Oh boy. See, if it wouldn't have been short animated film, I was gonna go was Space Jam back then. But that's a feature film.
This is
But
in
I don't think-
2018.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Kobe Bryant.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I got my films mixed up. Kobe Bryant.
I believe
Kobe
it was
Bryant,
called
what
Dear
was he in?
Basketball. Dear Basketball or
What?
something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I've never even heard of that. Huh.
It was good. It was good.
All
was
right,
real-
all right. All right. Who's up now?
Now it's my turn again.
All right. T West. Who is the only NBA player to win the NBA Finals MVP while playing for the losing team?
While playing for the losing team, was that actually LeBron with the Heat versus the Spurs? No? Okay. Then I'm wrong.
Oh man. Was it Paul Pierce?
No, and I think we have to go back and forth. You guys need some points, bro. It's going to take us forever to get to 100. So, let's take it back to T West. Think
All
about
right.
the entire history of basketball, not just our era.
Okay, so it's okay. Wasn't Jerry West with the Lakers?
It was.
Was it? It was. Okay.
It was.
All right.
All right.
I was trying to think Will Chamberlain.
Question 6.
All right.
Who we up to again? Sorry, I keep losing
This
track.
is Luca.
All right, Luca. Which NFL quarterback is the first to throw for 500 yards in a Super Bowl?
First to throw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl.
I would like to let you know you've gotten 0 right this game.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that reminder.
All right.
Oh, this is horrible. Only one that sticks out to me, I can remember throwing a lot, was Drew Brees.
Incorrect.
Was it Doug Williams with the Redskins?
It was not.
Damn it.
Luca, go back to you.
Go Peyton Manning.
Incorrect.
Mother of pearl.
Dan Marino against the Cowboys.
Nope. You guys are giving good guesses, though.
I mean, Tom Brady, he was in 7.
Yep.
Yep, Tom Brady.
Correct.
Okay.
Nice
All right.
job.
All right.
You're on the board.
After 8 guesses, thank you.
Who was it against? What Super Bowl was that?
Oh, man. I have to go back to Google.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I was just curious if you
Yeah.
had it up.
Okay. Bonus question time. Let me pull it up.
This is where you want us to write in the chat on this one, right? Like,
Yeah, you could.
Is it multiple choice?
This one is not multiple choice.
all right.
Sorry, I thought
Okay.
I kept it kind of easy. But yeah, it looks like it was against Brady did it in the Super Bowl, lost to the Eagles.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. That's bringing back memories now.
Yeah.
All right.
What do we got?
Bonus question. Who threw the NFL's first Hail Mary? And this one actually I got wrong when I was thinking of this question.
But this was a while ago too. Roger Staubach.
You're supposed to type it in.
Whatever.
Well,
I had it ready to go. So just so you
well,
know, it's in there.
I see Lucas, so we'll give it both. We'll tell you both. Nice job,
All right.
guys.
And do I get a bonus point for saying the team that it was against?
I'm gonna let T West decide that one because you guys are the ones competing.
No.
All right. Well, who was it, Luca?
I think it was the Eagles, right?
Yeah, I didn't look
We
that
should
far
look that
into it.
up. I could have sworn it was the Eagles.
I thought it was Doug Flutie, so I was way wrong.
That was
Yeah.
at Boston College.
Right.
So I think it was Roger. Was it Roger Staubach to Drew Pearson?
The name sounds familiar when I was Googling.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, that was Doug Flutie. I remember that Boston College Hail Mary for sure.
So let's see here. We have
Well, I
T
got
West is at
blocked.
9.
Yeah, 5 today, I think, for me.
Yep.
Dang, I got
Luke is at,
3.
and Luke is at 6.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Still
All right,
anybody's
and lead.
still anybody's game.
Yep.
You say that as you're laughing as he's pulling away. It's still anybody's game.
It's easy for me to sit here and moderate this because I don't have to think. So
These are some
No,
really
I
good
flopped.
questions, though. You know, they really did make me think and go back on some of these. So
I can try
Very
to make it something a little more back and forth for next time. But should we go to 50 or should we go to 100?
Let's go to 50.
All right.
Oh, there's got to be a mercy rule in here, you guys.
absolutely, I'm good with 50. Let's do it.
All right, boys. Well, good effort.
Yep. Nope. Thank you. I don't have a buzzer here because Luke is afraid of the buzzer. But that does conclude episode 3 of The Burp, brought to you by the Balls Rolling Productions. We want to wish everyone a very happy holidays, however you are celebrating. We will come back after the holidays, probably. We'll see what we can do. Maybe during. But for everyone listening right now, please enjoy time with your family. Please say thanks. Please think of others, as this time could be something that other people may be struggling with. So just out of the kindness of your heart, don't be an asshole. And everyone enjoy your have a happy holidays. And thanks for listening to episode 3 of The Burp. Y'all are the best. Peace. We'll talk to you guys later.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Talk soon. Happy holidays.